All right, so I've got another regular visitor. I've got Sultan Salatin. She's here as well. Hello, Sultana Ji.
Hi.
How are you? What would you
Um,
like to say?
I was watching your video with Abdullah Gondal, and there was a
Which one?
caller where the Ahmadi caller came up and said, "Why
Oh,
don't you talk about someone from the crap in the Shia faith?" So I remember because I had half my family Shia. My maternal side was pure Shia.
right,
So I have somewhat knowledge of it. I remember that my brother was a practicing Shia. So
right,
as a child, I went to the majalis and everything, and not those majalis that last till 10th of Muharram, but the
right.
ones after that that go on till the Chalisma. And there's what the real,
Crazy,
truth
crazy
comes
action
out.
is. That's where all the
Because
fun is.
yeah, because till the 10th, everything is watered down.
Yeah, right.
It's for the journal masses, things that are not controversial.
I
If
heard
you,
I heard. So let me ask you some questions. I heard in my old maternal grandmother's house there we had this family. There were Shias, and I remember in the late 80s or early 90s there were some riots against Shias, and the whole neighborhood protected them, and they said we're not going to tell them if a gang comes. We're not going to tell them that there's a Shia a group of Shia a family Shia family lives here. But anyway, but still, back. I don't know how familiar you are with the old Lahori Androon Shahar, like the real inner city, where the houses are on top of each other. Those
Mhm.
houses are, like 100 years old, probably even older. And when my mother's family, when they migrated from India, uh,
Mhm.
that's the house they got. So those
Mhm.
houses are like I used to call them. They're like New York buildings. They're like 4-story houses on top of each other.
Mhm.
We're just looking at each other through the windows, and we're just even sometimes passing stuff. Hey, this is what I cooked
Mhm.
today, so you have it. Um, those ones. So we heard. Now these were the rumors that we used to hear that the Shias, they don't get this thing. I forgot what it's called. Or, I think it is in Muharram days, and they say they put the urine of a horse or something.
Guljana, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So all our family was like, if you go to Abbas's house, don't eat that because they might have horses piss in that. So what is that? Is that true? Do they really do that?
No, no, it's not true. But the cult, as it develops, I'll tell you a funny story. My sister is also a practicing Shia,
Right.
agnostic practicing Shia, which is very weird. She knows everything, and you can talk about Muhammad and Aisha, and she herself told her husband, "Would you marry your 6-year-old to a 60-year-old man?" And he said no, and she said this was wrong what Muhammad did. So
All
in
right.
so she's which it makes me wonder all the more that why she's agnostic at all, but she is into spiritualism and all that. So
That's why
the
she's
Shias,
agnostic. I think she's
she,
atheist when it comes to Islam. I think she's just agnostic about if there is a creator of the universe or
I think
not.
she's scared. I think
Yeah,
she's scared
most people
because
are.
yeah, and it takes a lot of courage to come out of it, because I've went through that journey myself. So coming back to that Zuljana story,
Right.
um, throughout the Muharram, we were um, in my early 20s, late teens, we moved from Lahore to Karachi. Um, and then there was like my sister's kids were born, and my sister was taking them to Majalis and everything. And there was a Muharram time, and you touch the Zuljana, and it's supposed to be spiritual and whatever that crap
What is
that you get
Zuljana?
out of it.
But what is Zuljana?
Zuljana is a symbolic representation of Hussein's horse that he
Oh,
died.
right. Okay. Right. Right. All right. Jeez, how dogmatic that. Like symbolic representation, and then someone here is saying that no, not his urine, but his hair
Blood.
or
No, no. They
blood.
say what I heard was the blood story, that they put the blood in
So
it
they
in the
injure. So
halim
so,
and all
so
that.
basically, they injure the poor horse.
No, they don't actually. They just put those horse are very taken care of uh,
Fairly,
very
yeah.
greatly with the religious fervor, and they are fed well.
Yeah, but what happens to
Actually, they
him?
are given some alcohol. That's what I've heard before they are taking out in the masses because it's a huge crowd and everyone is touching
Yeah,
them, hugging
I've
them.
seen some. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I've seen some of the rallies where they've got these. There's usually a black horse or something, but really big, well-fed horse.
Beautiful horses. They
So do they
really take
survive?
pride in
I
it.
hope they don't get killed.
No, they don't get killed. There is a certain age till which they are used, and then they are sold
Got
off.
it.
That's what
Right,
I've heard to the Tangawalas or,
right,
um,
right.
stuff like
Okay.
that.
That's
But
okay.
my
Well, I
sister,
think it's still cruel though. It's still
yeah,
cruel though.
it
Like
is.
if the poor horsey grew up in such a life of luxury where he's pampered, and then at the end he's sold to a tangavala, and he's just hitting him and just using him for
Yeah. So
to pull carts. Okay, so what else is gonna ask? There was
I was telling you that this religious symbolism when it comes down to that.
right,
There in Shiaism, there's not only the horse. There are cradles for Ali Asghar.
right.
There's that what do you call a hand symbol which is called Panja from which is symbolic of Panchtan Pak. There are different rituals, Mannat, which is that you, if I my wish is fulfilled, I'll distribute so and so things. There's so many weird rituals down there that you can't even get wrap your head around. From
I
I
read,
don't know what is it.
I
That
read,
Dastarkhan, and I don't know. So many things.
I read Imam Tawhidi's book, and he said that Aisha was either in her early 20s, and someone here is saying that Shias believe Aisha was 25 years old when she married.
It's still debatable. It's still
Right.
debatable. But
So they're not authentic Shia
dis-
hadiths.
Shia dislike
Aisha what?
Aisha, Abu Bakr, and Umar a lot because
Uthman as
they
well.
claim,
I hate Uthman as well, but not as
yeah,
much.
Umar more so because they
He killed
blame
her.
Umar for Fatima's death because
He
they
killed
say that,
Fatima.
yeah,
Yeah,
he killed.
Umar killed Fatima, and Umar also. Yeah, but also, isn't that quite amazing? The Shias tend to. It looks like Shias love Ali and Imam Hussein more than they care for Muhammad.
Yes, they do.
Isn't it, like they don't get worked up? They don't get worked up over Muhammad, but they get worked up on Ali and
I think
Hussein.
in the heart of heart, they think Ali is the spiritual representation of God.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, w- and coming back to that, if you Google Sermon 80 um, after the Battle of Camel, and
Yeah.
you'll get a screen, you'll get images from that. That is by from Nehjul Balagha, which is written by Ali's sermons.
Right.
And Sermon 80 after the Battle of Camel, it says, "O people, when women are deficient in faith, deficient in shares, and deficient in intellect, as for their deficiency in faith, it is their sitting back from the ritual prayer and fasting in the days of their menstruation. As for their deficiency in share, it is because their inheritance is half that of men. And as for their deficiency in intellect, this is what pinches me the most. As for their deficiency in intellect, it is because the testimony of two women is like the testimony of one man.
That's in
So
the Quran. So
beware. So beware the evil of women. Be on guard against the good ones among them, and do not obey them, so they do not desire evil. That is Ali for you.
yeah.
How messed up can you be?
Yeah, it's yeah. Look, I mean, a lot of people tell me I have a friend who became a Shia from Sunni, and he tells me he's a journalist in Pakistan, and I wouldn't name him, but he says, "Oh, Harris, what you say is actually right, but you've only studied Sunni Islam." So he agrees with all my criticism of Sunni Islam, and then they love it when I crap on Bukhari and Muslim and like all the Sunni hadiths. But they're like, "But Harris, read our hadiths. Our hadiths are really good. You wouldn't find any crap like that." But Iman, was it Khamenei's book that said that he introduced the method of tying? He said that that's a disgusting ideology. He even removed the limit from a child bride. He said even if he's like 2 or 3 years old, that's fine. You can lie with her, and then you can just rub your penis on a tie, and that's how you can get off if you can't have an intercourse with her. That's how sick. That's how sick it was, and that is in Khamenei's book. Khamenei is a spiritual leader of Iran, and all the Shias of the world look up to him.
It's very disturbing, actually, all of this. And Ali, if you look at it, Ali was. People say that, my father was often. We went into the Middle East as well. So he had some friends over there, and he would got hold of some historical books over there. He loved to read when he was alive. But he told me that his concept of Islam was that it was all cooked up. And the basic aim was to bring a more socialist kind of a system in the Arabia, and it backfired as soon as Abu Talib died and Khadija died, and Muhammad made it according to his own whims. But which I fail to understand, which I would have argued with him now. He's not alive. My father's not alive anymore, but he had certain sort of respect for Ali for being somewhat intellectual.
Right.
Because he was known to be a poet. He used to he used to write, and he was into poetry and stuff, which according to Muslims is forbidden. But if you read crap like that about women, and I remember as a child I was reading Nahjul Balagha, and there was a stuff about why are men allowed to marry more than once, and women can't. And his argument was that you can't distinguish between the children which one.
Yeah, that's a common argument. That's a common argument. But, I said that argument falls apart on its ass. So if you
if you look at now that we have DNA tests, so it should be allowed.
Yeah, but according to their logic, yes. So it's obvious. So when they say no, then it means it's not about that. Then, so what is it about?
It is so weird that
it's about sexual. It's about the most primitive of human feelings, which is sexual jealousy. And it's not only limited to humans. It's found in all mammalian species. A lot of mammalian species. There's some more promiscuous species, but obviously with humans, this jealousy does exist, and that's just this for marriage characteristic of Islam is just another remnant of that. It was just another indication. It's just another religion that is that is built upon instincts of primitive humans. Now we know that there are people who probably are not as sexually jealous as our ancient counterparts were. But anyway, I think I need to wrap it up. Thank you very much for coming. I need to take a few more calls too. Thank you very much for being the member and coming in the show regularly.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sultan. Okay, all right. That was Sultan Salatin. To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.